Hi, today we're talking about the learning philosophy that I have in my classroom. So let's get started. So these are the things that we're going to cover. How do we learn? The student classroom experience, type of assessments that we'll be covering in this class, remote learning versus in-person learning, and ways parents can help. So there are three ways that I believe people learn. One, through experience, and this is through trying new things, reading, going places. That is the key to growing as an individual. And then the second part is reflection. Once we have these new experiences, reflecting on them allows us to gain more access or more knowledge by unpacking those things that we learn from. So reflection is a key part in this class. So the students will be doing a lot of writing, sometimes video journaling, and they'll be reflecting on the things that they experienced in the class. And then the last way that we learn is through sharing. People, when they talk to one another and they share their experiences, not only do they help educate their colleagues, but they also educate themselves. Me being a teacher, I've learned so much more about my subject matter and just about how people learn through teaching, through sharing of my own experience. So I really try to include this in my class every year so that my students grow. So again, we're going to be doing new things. That is the experience part. I'll be asking the students to reflect on those new experiences, and then they'll be sharing them with the class. Now, the classroom experience, one, again, I want to provide new experiences. So not only will be writing and reading in this class, we'll also be making multimedia projects. Right now, because of remote learning, this is a great opportunity to include a lot of those technologies that normally we don't get to use in the classroom. So we're going to be using that. So this is a new experience for everyone. Learning from others. We're going to be looking at not only the writings in the textbook, but also our own writings, the students journaling. When they share with one another, we'll see how we grow by listening to other people's experiences. And then leads into the last thing, student sharing. One of the big parts of this class will be sharing our experience with one another. Types of assessments. Now, this year, again, because we're starting remotely, you've heard these two words a lot, and I do have another video on my website that talks a little bit about synchronous and asynchronous. But I want to show you, again, some of the ideas behind these things. Synchronous means that we're all working together as a class. And we have, for example, the 20 people in the class, including the teacher. We meet and we're on the same schedule. We're meeting either through Google Meets or Nearpod. We're using something like Padlet where we're able to respond to each other in real time. We do a Kahoot game or a quiz. We use Flipgrid to do a synchronous meeting. So we're all on the same page at the same time. That's synchronous. Asynchronous is like blog writing, where I give an assessment for homework. For example, I ask a question and they write a paragraph and they upload it to their blog. We can also use Flipgrid for asynchronous, and asynchronous means that we're not all doing the same activity at the same time, that we're using our own time. So this traditionally this means homework, but because of the remote learning, it might be a little bit different. There might be days where you can't come to class and you check the Google Classroom assignments and you complete the assignment on your own. That's asynchronous learning. Right now I'm taking classes at the University of North Texas, and a lot of our class work is asynchronous. Read a chapter, do the assignments, and turn them in. So asynchronous and synchronous have always been around. I think they're just getting a lot more attention because of the way we're starting the school year this year. Now, remote learning versus in-person learning. Again, remote learning, it does offer more flexibility as far as location. It is technology based, so you are using computers, iPads, maybe even your phone. Whereas in-person learning, we're meeting physically. We're in the same classroom. We're in the same building. You still might be using technology, but we get to see everyone in person physically every day. Now, they both are student-centered. In other words, we're trying to get the most out of the student. They both make use of asynchronous and synchronous learning. So even though these might be new words that you're hearing this year, they've been around for a while. Both include various types of assessments. We'll have quizzes and tests, projects, but they both have these things. And in both remote learning and in-person learning, the teacher is the facilitator. I'm here to help guide the students along their journey in English 1 and Reading 2. So there really isn't that much of a difference, although it looks different. And best ways that parents can help. This will be a challenge, especially early on in the year. So here's some quick tips. One, establish routines with your students, with your children. Make sure that they know what time they need to get up, what time they're expected to sit at their computer, and make it a habit and give them a structure. I think kids need structure, especially in this case where a lot of the learning will be done on their own. So it's important that the students and parents and guardians, they communicate and you guys have a routine. Number 2, choose a good place to learn. You don't need a lot of space. Even a small corner of a room is enough space for you to set up a learning classroom. If you want, check the website. I have a video on the best location setup and some tips that you can use for creating a classroom in the home. Now, make sure that you do designate a place. I think it will help the students get into that mindset of, okay, I'm in this space and now it's time to learn. So please try to figure out what works best for you. Number 3, stay in touch. My email is on the website. You can call the school to get a hold of me. Email works the best. But if you have any questions, especially early on in the school year, ask. I don't want it to go on and you're trying to guess as a parent or a guardian, like, how do I don't understand this assignment, or maybe your child tells you that they don't have any homework but it doesn't feel right. Stay in touch. Write an email. Hey, Mr. Sanchez, just double checking. Cassandra says there's no work for today. Is that true? And I'll email you. I have a calendar I have 3 calendars. I have one on the home page, and then one on the reading page, and one on the English 1 page. So you can check the calendar and keep up to date with all those assignments. Number 4, encourage the students to own their own learning. I think it's important that as high school students, they start growing in their responsibilities, because in 4 years, they're off to college and there won't be those reminders from parents, guardians, or teachers. They really have to kind of, acknowledge that their education is their own investment and they will benefit from it, but they have to own it. They have to take responsibility for it. And number 5, begin and end each day with a check-in. Ask your student, what did you learn today? And I know that as a parent, I have 2 young boys, that this might not be sometimes the best thing to, take time to figure out, okay, I gotta, ask, what did you learn today? And sometimes they talk a lot. And, I would say just go through it. If anything, it's helping them learn a little bit more about what they went through during the day. Plus, you set that expectation that learning is important, okay? And it's important that in this first 4 weeks of remote learning that we double check with our students that they're getting the most out of the experience. I know teachers are doing a lot of work to prepare these online lessons, but if there's no feedback either from the student, parent, or guardian that these lessons, one, aren't working, or two, they are working, then we really don't know. So I encourage you, begin and end each day with a check-in. What are you doing today? Did you finish your project? Tell me something you learned today. This will help everyone move along as we hope to get back to in-person learning at some point in the year, but we don't know. So again, these are the best practices, ways that parents can help transition from in-person learning to this remote learning that we're doing this year. Again, stay in touch. This is my contact. This is the best way to get a hold of me. I check my email throughout the day, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I wish you guys the best this year. If you have any questions about anything, I'm more than happy to help. If I don't know the answer, I will find out for you, and have a great year.